So let's move on to our shop talk segment. So I'm over at Hawthorne. I filmed this a few weeks back, but I held it for this debut episode. Over at Hawthorne Drum Shop, he had a couple different Ludwig kits, and I've always been confused on how the models of 60s, 70s Ludwigs were named. So we're going to kind of dig in a little bit on what is a Hollywood kit, what is a classic kit. Let's check it out. Some vintage Ludwigs with Chris Hawthorne at Hawthorne Drum Shop.
All right, let's talk about 1970s Ludwig. So what is this particular setup that we're looking at here?
So this configuration or outfit is a Hollywood outfit. So 14 by 22, 8 by 12, 9 by 13, and 16 by 16. You could order these with other size bass drums. So, you know.
And would still be called a Hollywood?
Yeah, they would go mainly by like the 2 up. That's usually what's determined. Oh. Now you can also get. They also had. I have a kit in the back actually that had 2 rails. So a rail here, 2
Weird.
up. I don't know what you would call that.
Weird?
Whatever I would call it would be wrong according to people on the internet. So.
But this is a 70s kit, which is the telltale is by the Blue Olive badge, right?
Yeah.
And
yep. Now they did have like transition era kits that were like 1969, 1970, where the badges are mixed. And it was ordered together, and it was just like they ran out of. I don't know, if I was a customer, I'd be mad.
Yeah, that's not cool.
But yeah, now they also had another configuration that was called the Big Beat that was also the same sizes, 2 up. And it was called the Big Beat because it had a different set of hardware. I think they were thicker, like Hercules stands.
That's confusing.
Yeah, I just call all these Hollywood.
So the configuration has a name. What is the series referred to as?
I just would call these classic.
Classic?
Yeah.
So what would be a super classic?
Super classic has a rail.
Oh my God. So that'd be a super classic, the one with your 2 rails?
Yeah, double rail. super classic. They also had a super beat mic, and that was an uncatalogued. I don't think it's in a catalog. It was a 20. Well, it was a 13, 20, and a 16 with a rail. And people just name it that because it's a combination of the big beat and the downbeat and the super classic. Excuse me. The downbeat's 14, 12, 20.
All right, let's go through all the setups again that you know of. What would be the jazz kit? Like
Jazzette. Now, a jazzette is not a jazzette if it has a 14-inch bass drum.
What?
Yeah. I don't care. But, yeah, jazzette had a rail on top, and it was an 18-inch kick that was 12 inches deep. And it had a 12 and a 14.
Okay.
But they also had many that were an 18 by 14.
Yeah.
That's not a jazzette.
What is it?
I don't know. According to the catalog, that's not a jazzette.
So what's a downbeat then?
A downbeat is a 20, 12, 14 with a rail.
Okay. Big beat.
Same as this with different hardware. It's like different stands.
Oh man.
I don't care about like this catalog stuff. It's not. I think it's stupid.
So what defines a classic? It's a 3-ply shell, usually maple, poplar maple, but if it's a wrap, maybe it's mahogany on the outside, right? Is that right?
You will occasionally get a 70s drum that's a mahogany on the inside. They're usually really clean and they're cool to find. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, this is earlier to mid 70s. All the drums are 3-ply with clear interiors. I think like around 1975 or 76, they would start spraying it with a granitone. I don't know why they did that.
Okay. And then the white interiors would have been 60s?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think around 1968 is when they stopped doing the white.
Okay.
So you'll get some 60s drums that have clear interiors, and they look pretty much like this. But they didn't, the series-wise, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody out there, but this is pretty much what they made. They had the standard series, which we've done, which are B-stock versions of these shells, but I mean, this is it. And then they came out with a rocker series, which was a 4-ply, and then the cheaper rockers, later on. But this was kind of like, you wanted a Ludwig, this is what you got.
What is the center lug series?
Oh, those are club dates.
Club dates.
And those were, I've seen 70s club dates, but mostly in the 60s.
Okay. But still same shells, right? 3-ply?
Yep.
All same shells.
Well, that's kind of how they were dealing with the pricing. So like less hardware, cheaper, which is interesting because people historically have like kind of shied away from those because they view them as cheaper because they were cheaper. But it's less hardware. So think about that in terms of like actually what's attached to a shell and allowing it to ring and kind of resonate more. So
Yeah, I guess the only thing that scares me with the downbeats, right, is the long lugs just getting bent. But
that's a club date.
club dates,
Right. So
club
you would
date.
have a bass drum and then you're like, whoop,
Yeah,
you know.
but they always
It's a
sound
lot.
great.
It's a lot of lug. You know.
So this like red finish is how rare is it these days?
It's rare. Out of like the kind of psychedelic finishes, there was Psych Red, there was Mod Orange, and there was Citrus Mod. Out of the three, this is the most common.
Oh, it is. It's also the most tiresome.
You don't like this finish?
I like it, but I think after a few weeks of using it, I'll be like, all right, where's my black drums?
Some people are like, I think it's cool. I mean, the variation in patterns is really cool. Like the bass drum on this is really blue. If you go on our website, you can see kind of the photos on it. It's really blue.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes you'll have ones that are really green, really like this is really red. This is kind of some green in it. And these will fade really easy. Sometimes the green will like turn to white. So it's like a red, white, and blue.
Interesting.
I think looks pretty cool, but
Very trippy.
some people don't like that.
Well, he has a little bit on the hoop. You can see it.
So when we got this, it was pretty much as is. It didn't have any bottom heads, no front bass drum hoop. The back bass drum hoop was just like a modern replacement. So we used original 70s Ludwig hoops, and we had some donor wrap. We cut the inlay out, glued it back in. So it fits pretty well. I mean, it's a little more faded, but that is original 70s Psych Red. And all the drums were in round too, which is nice because a lot of times when I guess I've heard it referred to as riding dirty without bottom heads.
Oh, without the bottom heads.
Yeah. They'll kind of like get out around, but they sound really good too.
Now, we were talking, I think last week, a little bit about spurs. Are these the thinner ones?
Those are the skinny spurs that I would love for somebody to reproduce. So if you're out there and want to reproduce Ludwig's, it's literally just a curved piece of metal. I will buy 10 sets.
So when did they go to the thicker ones?
Probably later. I know like most 80s kids have thicker ones, but I've also seen Vistalites that had the thicker spurs too.
Yeah, mine does. And they don't seat very well. They don't tighten in.
It was one of those, I think, quality things for whatever reason. Sometimes you'll see, I don't know if the drums were heavier, but you have like the thicker spurs. And then wherever the wing nut goes in, it'll just kind of like get all gnarled and bent. But
These are solid.
yeah, they're good, man. You get this set up like, I like these a little bit better than the Gullwing ones. I think that they're a little bit better for dumb people like me who don't have to like worry. I can just stick them in and make sure.
Right. Yeah, the gull wings don't go high enough for me because I'm a freak and I like to elevate the bass drum just a little bit off the ground.
Now, it sucks when you get one of these bass drums and I think that they made different lengths of those spurs. Like you're finishing up and the last thing you do is put the spurs in and they don't touch the ground.
That's what I have on my 68. Yep. They
That's
don't
fun.
touch. Yeah. I have to like force them in a bit. Anyway, again, repeat what this is for everyone who's completely confused.
Hollywood.
Ludwig Hollywood, which means 2 up, 1 down, and a bass drum. They can be different bass drums. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Let's move on to a different kit. All right, I'm going to take a guess. This is a super classic downbeat. No, it's just a super classic.
Super classic down. Just a super classic, yep. 9 by 13, 14 by 22, and 16 by 16.
It's not a super. So what makes it super is this not super, but cool.
Real console,
mount.
yeah.
What else makes it a super?
That's it.
That's it? Just that?
Now, if you had like a diamond plate on the middle, like that one over there, it was a 9 by 13. I think I've had a few of those that look like they're factory. I mean, you could call it a super classic, but technically it's not because of the rail.
So
Also, I just noticed there's not a simple mount on this. Usually there's a simple mount over there.
if it was a 13, 16, 22 with a center mount, you would still call that a super classic?
No.
What would you call
I mean,
it?
I would, but yeah, but like, technically,
That is.
you would get yelled at.
What is it?
Drum kit. I would call it a super classic in quotations.
Okay.
So if anybody emailed
Fascinating.
me, I'd say, well, it's in quotations.
What year is this particular kit? Do you know?
I don't know the exact year. probably like 74, 73.
Okay, so
think
it's got
they-
the same thing, clear
Yeah,
interiors.
there's a serial chart online, but I don't know if it's right or not. So unless there's like date stamps on the inside, I just say the era.
And what is this? This is, I'm used to seeing sparkles, but this is not a
Yeah,
sparkle
it's red
finish.
silk.
Red silk.
I used to not like this finish for whatever reason, but it's sharp. They made a red and a blue. It's a fragile wrap, and a lot of times you'll see cracking and splitting at the seams, but these are all pretty clean. We did reglue the seams on all the drums, which is my least favorite thing to do. But no cracks in the wrap. There is some wear. Sharp looking finish, if you ask me.
So is this the same wrap, like the blue? Would that be the same thing you'd see on a standard kit? The same blue, or is it different?
No,
It's a different blue.
standard blue. Like they did Strata, they did Astro. They also did like a mist. So there's a mist, and this is a silk.
I don't know what the difference is.
A mist is like the wrap's thinner. It looks a little bit different. If you put them together, you could tell the
Okay.
difference.
Yeah, my uncle had a blue Ludwig kit. I don't know if it was one of these or if it
Oh,
was.
the mist has like they're not quite sparkles. They're like it's almost like glitter, but not like. That's a bad example because red glass glitter is like that one back there. Yeah. It's like real, like actual, like really small, like pieces of like glitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
My memory tells me he had just a blue, like it was just a blue, like this, but blue, but like a light blue.
They did make those, and they oftentimes was like green, turned like a hunter green. But they did like it was kind of if it was clean, it was like pretty blue, but not quite a sparkle.
Would this make it cheaper than I don't know, a Black Oyster Pearl or something?
I don't know. I think wraps were,
Just wraps.
but I don't know.
Would you price it differently?
Yeah, now I would. Yeah. This isn't like a rare finish, but you usually like for in the 70s, you'll see like champagne sparkle, silver sparkle. What are some of the other finishes? Gold sparkle. These weren't as common, but I wouldn't call them rare. So we'll probably price this like $1,500 for all three drums.
And this has the same spurs as the other ones.
Yeah.
The smaller. So
Same.
nothing's different, right? Same lugs, same T-rods. The only thing different is this one piece of hardware.
That's it.
And one less drum, obviously.
One less drum.
I'm still confused. Hope you're all educated. Edumacated. I think it's all about whether you want a rail mount or not, right? And then the sizes.
Yeah, convenience. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's like what makes you feel good behind a kit. Like you can make a big deal like this. That kit is way more expensive than this because of the wrap that's on there. For some people that's worth like sitting by and be like, oh, this is like so inspiring. I love this. Some people like are inspired by a rail and they like it and they like having it there. Other people don't care. So it's whatever you personally care about and makes you feel good.
There you have it. For me, it'd be all about the sound, so I'd probably go for this one just because it's going to be the same shells, but
There
a
you
little
go.
bit cheaper. That'd be my choice. And
Well,
I
you have
never
bad taste, Mike.
I have terrible taste, and I never use two rack toms ever, not since high school. So
You never used two rack toms? I've tried.
puts
I
the
feel
ride
like
in a weird spot.
What do you do with the other one?
Yeah. Do I really need that third tom sound? I went boom, and I'm good.
Oh, and then you try to use it. You're like, oh, I'm going to use it. And then all your fills finish on the other rack tom.
Anyway, Ludwig Super versus Hollywood.
Good job. Super
we
classic
go.
Hollywood.
All right. Peace.
Perfect.